Hey guys, Bright Pizza YGO coming to you today with a little bit of a ban list discussion for December of 2020. So the new ban list should be coming out in the next week or two, effective after December 15th sometime. And I wanted to just talk about cards that I think that should be, hit on this upcoming ban list, and certain cards that should be able to peel off. So let's just dive right into it. First card I wanted to talk about is Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Infernos. I think the Dragon Ruler cards are not as powerful as they once were. Blaster especially is not as strong as some of the others, and with potential dragon hits to the Dragon Link deck, which is sort of more of a Chaos Dragon deck with most of the attributes being light or dark, having Blaster peel off would allow for, I guess, all fire decks to gain a little bit of power. There's not any real fire decks in the meta right now, as well as help, dragons have a generic destruction. Honestly, the effect isn't that good. I think they can test the waters with bringing this card back to 1. Let's talk about Lunalight Tiger. Lunalight Tiger is currently banned. I think Lunalight was hit pretty heavy back before the Master Rule change, I guess to be safe with what the deck could do. Honestly, with Tiger being limited, the deck is pretty much dead. I could see this card peeling back to 1 just to try to breathe some life into a deck that doesn't exist anymore, or a deck that can't function anymore, just to see what they can do. I think Tiger at 1 is safe. It's an easy problem to deal with, and you can probably choke the search cards out with like Ash Blossoms, and that would probably, help the deck, but also make it more susceptible to hand traps. So I think Lunalight Tiger is probably a safe card to play at 1 on this upcoming list. I think Engage is also safe to peel back off to 1. I think Striker is a very powerful deck, and I think this card is not to be joked around with. I think the Engage ban in January of 2020 was primarily to get players to, look a different direction, since all the decks that were in the Eternal format were so strong. But I think playing 1 Engage limits the ability to loop the engages to, restock your hand from the draw effect. And I think although adding Engage will make Striker very strong again, I think it's a tool to lean them away from being more of a Mystic Mind stun deck and more of a traditional control deck, which I think they were designed to be. I think Harp Horror also has the ability to peel off. Orcust really hasn't been doing anything since the Harp ban, and I do think this is a fan favorite deck. I think bringing this back to 1, the deck will still have its choke points, and be more susceptible to losing their only copy of Harp Horror. So I think this should be a pretty safe thing to come back to 1. I do think it will add a lot of explosiveness to a deck that is just missing something, but it should allow more diversity into the format. That being said, Orcust is also a relatively weaker deck. They don't generate as many negates or bodies on field as some of the other meta decks right now. So I think adding Harp Horror adds a tool to a deck that's seen better days, and I think bringing this back to 1 is probably a safe starting point to try to help mend some of the deck's issues. I want to talk about Infernoble, or I guess I'll talk about the other cards I think that can come off the list. I think Stalio can come off the list. I don't think Salamangreat's very strong. I think the toolbox is very consistent, and the Stalio hit kind of cut some of the consistency, but I think they can use this hit back, or this. I think this card can be brought back. The deck isn't necessarily inherently strong in the new Master Rule, and this will just add some consistency in a toolbox card for the deck to be stronger. I think we can bring Wind Up Carriers and Mighty back to 1. Some people might have some fear that they're going to be hand looped with this card and Wind Up Hunter being alive, but I think the wind-up archetype has been power crept, so much in the last 8 or 9 years that I don't think bringing this card back will actually do anything. I think it'll like give the deck some more explosiveness, but I don't think windups will do anything. Post ban list if this peels off. And the last card I have coming off the list from ban to limited would be Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. There's more Metal Foes support coming out in Blazing Vortex, and so I think peeling this card off to 1 would promote sales for the new product. Okay, so let's talk about addressing meta decks now. We could talk about Infernoble Knight a little bit, or just generically any combo deck. But I think Infernoble, a lot of people are screaming out for Smoke Grenade to be banned, and I do think this is a very good card to target. Just having the effect to look at your opponent's hand and choose the card to get rid of is very powerful. The one thing I will say about why I don't necessarily know if Konami will go in this direction is this is a portion of the combo that happens, after like many things take place. So you could lose a card to Aqua Dolphin. They can make Omega and loop the Omega to rip cards out of your hand, and this is kind of just like the final straw to the Infernoble Knight combo. Because this happens last, I don't think it actually does anything to hurt the combo. And I think addressing the consistency of the combo and the power of the combo overall is something that needs to be looked into. So I think addressing the power of the combo and like the number of resources, I think banning Phoenix Blade is smart. Not being able to recur this card back will make the deck have to play smarter to maintain advantage. So I think banning Phoenix Blade, I prefer that over banning the Smoke Grenade because this is like infinitely recurable and will help in the grind a lot. And if we hit Infernoble in that way, it's kind of going to be like a boom or bust deck, and it should create more choke points. I think also the second hit I would look at would be banning Link Cross. Konami has a history of banning token generators, so I think the Link Cross will be banned as opposed to something like a Halqifibrax, which I actually think Halqifibrax should stay in the game. This Predaplant, Verte Anaconda, and the Electromite, I think because they're all supporting game mechanics, that they should be playable in some sort of way to promote their game mechanic. I think it is unhealthy when you have cards like Hulk being played in every deck, though, because you have supporting cards like Lindcross and Auroradon to kind of add to the power of these combos. So I would say Infernoble Knight, Lindcross ban, Phoenix Blade ban, and then I think limiting Connector would be a very interesting move. I don't think it would do a whole lot in terms of like hurting the power of Infernoble, but it would limit the ability for an Infernoble player to bring out Aqua Dolphin and hand loop before hand loop before the assault. So I think that would definitely hurt the deck's ability to play through like hand traps. So I think those would be the 3 hits that I would look at. I think the Smoke Grenade play at the end of the turn is very cute, but I do think Konami might want to go in a different direction, addressing cards that they probably can't profit off of, such as Connector, Phoenix Blade, and Link Cross. Dragon Link hits, I think Buster Whelp should be banned. I think we might see a limitation to one of the consistency cards, whether that's Starleash Seifert, Chaos Space, or Quick Launch. I think Quick Launch not being once per turn should be limited. I do think Konami still has a window to make more money off of these cards, so I don't necessarily think that either of these two will be banned or limited for that matter, but those are also very powerful Dragon support cards. Chaos Space is just very powerful in general, that might see a limitation in the future. Moving along with Dragon Link, I think LP is a good candidate for something that could get hit on this upcoming list. If you watch any of the other Dragon Maid combos on my video or on my channel, you'll see that I actually showcase a combo using the new Ghost from the Past Dragunity stuff, and that will replace Guard Dragon LP. In terms of what like the LP does for the deck, there's actually a combo that steps into a Tum, and a Tum can summon whatever dragon you need for your play. So I think banning LP will occur. I just don't know if it's going to happen this very list or the next list if it comes out before that Ghost from the Past set. But I do think LP will see a ban in the next 3 or 4 months. So those would be my hits for Dragon Link. Dinosaurs, I think the only complaint about dinosaurs is miscellaneous source being a pain and not allowing your opponent to interact. So I can see a limitation on miscellaneous source. I think it's a good tool, and it would definitely reduce consistency on dinosaur players seeing this card. But I think this card will still be. I think it'll make it through the list. I just think it'll be limited when it comes out of the other side. Carrying on with not being able to interact, I think the only hit that we would probably perform to any sort of invoked strategy would be a Meltdown hit. This also prevents interaction with the opponent when you fusion summon. So I can see this card being limited as like a minor hit to the invoked Dogmatica deck, which is also a very powerful deck. I think Konami might also address some of the degenerate cards in the game. I think True King of All Calamities should be banned. It might be limited on this upcoming list just because a lot of the newer decks are making this, and Konami might want to have this card be playable to promote sales for their newer decks. But I do think having cards like this, Zexal, are pretty bad for the format as a whole. I would really like to see these guys go. It's just I don't necessarily think it's Zexal's time since it's not being abused in anything in this current meta. And then I think True King of All Calamities is kind of the win condition for a lot of the newer decks. So I could see this staying for another couple months just to promote sales on the current product. I guess moving back to Infernoble, but I also think Power Tool Dragon is an enabler for a lot of degenerate stuff. Do I think this card will be banned? Not necessarily, but it does come up in a lot of FTKs, as well as that Infernoble Knight combo that like hand loops your opponent. So I think this is a card that I would look at as a possibility to get hit. I'm not 100% sure what'll happen to it. I really don't think it's going to be touched. But I just want to share my thoughts as I think this is a problem card that could be banned in the future. Don't know when we're going to address it, but I think it is coming. I just don't know when its time will end. I want to talk about Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon. I think this card is ban worthy as well as a token generator. I don't think it's being played as much because Link Cross is easier to go into. I think Auroradon is going to be the token generator for the upcoming format to replace Link Cross. I don't think it'll be banned this ban list, but I think maybe next ban list around we'll see this card go. I think this card is probably way too powerful for what it does, being able to generate 3 tokens, recur a trap from the grave, or tutor from deck. I think all those effects are pretty busted. I think Union Carrier is also pretty strong. I think this will sneak by since I do think it's involved in a lot of degenerate stuff, but I think removing the Buster Destruction Sword card here, I think that solves a lot of the issues with the current metagame. So I think Union Carrier will stay a couple more lists until it probably hits its final straw. But I do want to see what newer strategies use this card for. I do think it is used in a lot of degenerate plays, but I don't know necessarily if this card will be targeted. Last thing I wanted to talk about was a couple of unlimits. I think basically the whole semi-limited list can be freed. I don't necessarily see a need for anything to be semi-limited. I'm including Malicious here. I don't think heroes are doing anything. Dark Warrior can probably do something real degenerate with 3 Malicious, but we have so many hand traps nowadays that I think that can be probably addressed that way. And then the last thing I want to talk about is Tempest. I think Tempest is an unlimited here. It is probably a pretty smart choice by Konami to promote the Dragunity stuff coming out in Ghost from the Past. So I can definitely see this card coming back to 3 to promote sales. And I guess that's my little ban list discussion. Let me know your thoughts. I am more than willing to agree to disagree on certain things. I'm trying to take a different point of view on some of these decks, especially the Infernoble stuff. I think, like I said, I think Smoke Grenade's a really cool play for the deck, and I don't think it's necessarily the problem. I think the problem is everything that happens up into the Smoke Grenade, and that's just kind of like the final straw. So let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm more than willing to chat about what I think, and hopefully we can get some creative combos going on for future decks. Thanks, guys.